Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I know we're in a kind of a different change of scenery. We're in my truck because I'm just getting back. It's kind of been a long day a little bit. We're working on the car quite a bit off camera. Long story short is, last night we were heading out to go to dinner, me and my Annie. And as we were going to leave, I walk past the car and I see it. There's still like a bunch of water underneath. And I'm like, and it just rained and sometimes like our garage like lets water in. But I was like, that's just weird. It's whatever, you know, figure it out. And come to find out, I'm like, open up my rad, check the expansion tank, everything's empty. I'm like, all right, that's really weird because like it was just bled. So filled it back up with some water, starts leaking out of the front of the case. And I'm like, that's great. So today went in, pulled the fan and everything off, pulled the belts off and everything to look at the front of the water pump. Come to find out, my water pump was leaking out of the weep holes, which is a big indicator of the internal seal inside of the water pump itself going bad. Honestly, it makes sense. Been sitting for however long. Sounds like crap. No big deal. Went out and tried to search some part stores, couldn't find anything. The tough thing is with this SR motor not being from like the original motor in a lot of the American cars, like American S chassis, it's tough. Every part store is pretty much all the KAs, which is fine. It just sucks because sometimes it takes longer to get stuff. Long story short, got a new one ordered. I am getting another S13, so before you like strangle me for not doing an S14 or 15 because they have a better coolant flow, because they have the cavity and everything, trying to find one right now, I was looking probably 2 weeks, if not a little longer, to get one here. There might be somebody that has a spare. I just went with the S13. It'll be fine for now. I'm also going to electric fans. I'm not going to keep the mechanical clutch fan just because in my own personal experiences, I've had like not a ton of luck with clutch fans. I've had some completely shred the shroud apart just because they weren't like totally aligned. Not my fault. It was just first time I had taken it out, it just obliterated everything. Had one like annihilate coolant hoses and I don't like it. I like being able to shut the car off and keep the fans running. So I pull a lot of that hot air or hot water. So I'm still pulling air through the hot water in the rad to cool the rad down a little faster. And just stuff like that. Especially in like a competitive setting, it's going to be a lot more useful to do that instead of having a car sit there and pull a bunch of air. So yeah, nothing against mechanical fans. They do great. The GK Tech one is awesome and it does really well. I just personally, I think for what we're looking for, I think the electric fans I'm going to throw on a switch is going to be a lot more beneficial. Aside from that, I'm trying to think of what else. I'm still cleaning up some of the harness and stuff. I'm probably going to switch over to the other alternator I have. The one that's on there now, the stud that comes off the back is a little too small. And because I got the PowerTune digital dash now linked in with the Link ECU. It was actually really cool. I just had to go in and change the different CAN inputs. It was a little confusing and kind of scary at first, but it was neat. Link software is insane. So yeah, got that working. But anyway, when I was running it the other day, just checking a couple things like to make sure that it was registering all like the right values and stuff after I did that. I wasn't running like a great voltage. It was sitting about 12.6, 12.7. So I don't think with the way the stud is, like the actual like contact point for the recharge and everything wasn't great. And I don't know if that alternator necessarily is big enough for that massive Deca battery I got. Or Delca? I don't remember. I had to look at it. Shout out battery outlet though. Dude's a G. Larry, the owner there, is awesome. Great dude. Hopefully we'll get some stuff to throw on the car. When he gets some like stickers and stuff. So if you have any battery needs, go hit up my boy Larry down at Battery Outlet up here in Erie, PA. So yeah, aside from that, changing the alternator. I also don't know what I'm going to do with the power steering yet. I might look into some alternatives at some point just because for some reason this pump, I don't know if it has just a weird air in the line somehow. It doesn't seem to be working great. I'm going to try to rebleed it one more time once we get the new water pump in and everything hooked back up. To kind of go from there. If not, we might start looking towards something electric. I don't really want to because I like mechanical. It's easy and simple. But also, it's a few more Hurst purrs for the Fun Turbo car. For the very short trip though, before the water pump crapped the bed, and I was just trying to get the car up to temp, up and down the driveway, that thing is so fun because it makes all the turbo noises. But yeah, aside from that, we're gonna go get back at it and go from there. See you in a bit. Okay, so kind of catching back up, but now it's dark outside as everyone can see. We actually kept the original alternator just because the new one had to make a lot of modifications to the bracket itself, and then on top of that I would have to, it's just not gonna work. It's a long story. I'm exhausted, but pretty much we have the old one back in. I have this plugged up for the water pump for right now, just until we're waiting on it. I was able to clean up some of the engine, just took some Scotch-Brite, cleaned it up a little bit. I thought about maybe painting some stuff, but I'm not really gonna mess with it too much. Yeah, aside from that, I mean, everything else looks pretty good. Cleaning up mostly just some wire harness stuff. We tightened down some nuts back here, cleaned it up so there's no exposed positive terminals. Just stuff like that. Just getting more familiar with everything kind of going on with the car and where all the wires are going. So yeah, I'm still trying to find like a good flocking kit, whatever you want to call it, because I can't really seem to find like a good adhesive that I want to use to get that big old sucker done. Excuse the Blade Runners. Annie wants to rollerblade. Yeah, so as soon as I can figure something out with the flocking for the dash, I can get the dash put back in, start to get like everything else kind of wired back up how I want it to be. I got to run a main switch for like power and everything. I still might put like a main kill switch too. Right now I just have a breaker for back there, like a 200 amp circuit breaker, just in case like it were to have some weird pull somewhere, it'll shut all that down. I'll probably start to pull this front wire harness up into here. That way I can find out where the fan junction is going to be, and I can start to kind of get all that tightened up that way. Yeah, so the other thing that I'm contemplating is I kind of found like a cool color that I was maybe thinking about those. It's like a black. I'll give you like a little test shot. I don't know if you can see it. Super cool though. Oh, that would look neat. Is either that or we do the standard. Trying to see if I can get that to look any better. It's hard without the daylight, but it has a really cool shine to it. I don't know. Your guys' thoughts, maybe, possibly. We'll see. It might just be painted by the time this gets posted. We'll just kind of have to see from there. Still got to get a catch can for it. Throw it on to like the valve cover, or for the breather and the valve cover. Just stuff like that. I don't really know what else. At some point, I'd have to look back to make sure to see if he mentioned what they put in for the fluids and stuff. If they don't have DOT51, I have to do a full conversion of that with both my Miata and this car, just so I don't run into any kind of heat soaking problems, because I'm dealing with that with the Miata right now and my clutch and everything. So yeah, aside from that, I did throw the side skirt on. Looks pretty cool. There's definitely a lot I'm gonna have to do body paneling wise. There's a little bit here I gotta fix with some glass. Mainly get actual glass here. Yeah, so yeah, we'll check back in a bit. Hey everyone, catching up a little bit. Things are gonna look drastically different. I may or may not have done a lot more than expected. Yeah, let me just show you. So, still waiting on the water pump to come in. Pulled the rat out. We are doing the electrical fans right now, just because while I'm waiting for it, I was like, yeah, I might as well get everything hooked up. Got the harness and everything ran up. Right up underneath little core support in the front, just like it normally would be stock. Just got to throw a ground for each set for the headlights and stuff. All the fans and everything like that. So I actually got the dash in. Now, hear me out. it's a good thing no one watched me do that, because I was cussing a storm, throwing things, breaking things, because I'm not gonna lie to you, this was the biggest pain in my balls that I've had to do in a very long time. So long story short, it's not entirely finished. I have to make a little bracket that's gonna hold this up just a little bit, just so it's not so flimsy. Dash here, switch for main power, whole button panel here. I might flock this at some point. I'm really not that concerned about it right now because it all just is taking so goddamn long. But yeah, got the little panels made for those. I might clean those up a little bit, do some kind of cool design to it. But nonetheless, yeah, started working on the fans. Alright, so since now we got them all wired together, or not wired together, all hooked in and everything, nice and secure, not going to go anywhere. Gonna do the wiring next. Do another little time lapse of that. See you in a bit. And just like that, we have 2 wired fans that are going to hook straight into the harness that I just got to run a ground for. And yeah, and that'll be it. I'm probably going to toss this in there just for like the time being to hang out and just kind of sitting there for now, and then we'll go from there. Sounds good. So I realized I didn't film an outro or anything like that, so we're in my little office and everything. Pretty much. I'm trying to think, that last video, we're still kind of waiting on the water pump to get in. Did the rad, or like the fans, wired it all up. I did clean the fuel pump out. I don't think I went over that. Pulled it out, long story short. Had like a little separator, it wasn't working anymore. The grate at the bottom of the fuel filter, or fuel pump, wasn't working. It wasn't like connected or anything. A little bit of sediment, and it looked like the pump had some sort of like piece of plastic stuck on the input, and then not the input, but for like the feed hole, and then essentially where it feeds into the sending unit that you have, the little line that was there, eating away. So fixed all that, replaced all that. Has a lot more fuel pressure, so I'm kind of hoping that fixes the problem we had. Won't know until water pump comes in. I'm hoping it'll be in by tomorrow. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Kind of got a lot done. I got some other stuff done, but it's probably going to go into the next video. Yeah. Aside from that, still moving forward, figuring out some other stuff. I'm really hoping I can have that car done by the end of July, if not beforehand. Oh, excuse me. Also, anyone watching this, happy 4th of July. That's when I'm kind of filming the outro portion. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Tune in for the next video. Subscribe, like, share, do whatever you can. Tell all your friends, whatnot. Yeah, and we'll just keep on, whatever you want to call it. Alright, see you guys in the next one.